The Hidden Leaf Village stood as a beacon of resilience and hope, its towering Hokage monument carved into the mountainside a testament to the generations of leaders who had protected it. The village bustled with life, shinobi and civilians alike moving through the streets under the warm glow of the afternoon sun. Yet, beneath the surface of this peaceful facade, a quiet unease lingered. The recent disappearance of several high-ranking shinobi had left the village on edge, and whispers of a mysterious force at work had begun to spread. Among the villagers, Team 7, Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha, and Sakura Haruno, stood as symbols of the village's strength, their bond forged through countless battles and trials. Naruto, now the 7th Hokage, strode through the village with his usual boundless energy, his orange Hokage cloak fluttering behind him. His blue eyes sparkled with determination, though a faint shadow of worry lingered in his expression. The weight of leadership had tempered his brashness, but his unwavering belief in his friends and his village remained as strong as ever. Beside him walked Sasuke, his dark cloak and calm demeanor a stark contrast to Naruto's vibrancy. Sasuke's Sharingan glimmered faintly as he scanned their surroundings, his sharp instincts always on alert. Though he had chosen a path of atonement, his loyalty to the village and his teammates was unwavering. Sakura, the third member of their trio, walked slightly behind them, her emerald eyes focused and her mind racing. As the head of the medical corps, she had been working tirelessly to uncover the cause of the recent disappearances, her sharp intellect and medical expertise making her an invaluable asset to the village. The trio's bond had only grown stronger over the years, their shared experiences shaping them into a formidable team. Yet, as they gathered in the Hokage's office to discuss the recent events, a tension hung in the air. "We can't keep ignoring the signs," Sakura said, her voice firm as she placed a stack of reports on Naruto's desk. "The disappearances are too coordinated, too precise. This isn't the work of some rogue ninja or bandits. There's something bigger at play here." Naruto leaned back in his chair, his brow furrowed as he studied the reports. "I know, Sakura," he said, his tone serious. "But without more information, we're just spinning our wheels. We need a lead, something concrete to go on." Sasuke, who had been silently observing, finally spoke. "There's a pattern," he said, his voice calm but commanding. "All the missing shinobi were last seen near the outskirts of the village, near the old Uchiha compound. If we're going to find answers, that's where we should start." The mention of the Uchiha compound sent a ripple of unease through the room. The compound, long abandoned and shrouded in mystery, was a place of both power and pain, its history intertwined with the village's darkest moments. Yet, it was also a place of potential answers, and the team knew they had no choice but to investigate. As they made their way to the outskirts of the village, the atmosphere grew heavier, the air thick with an almost palpable tension. The compound loomed before them, its crumbling walls and overgrown vegetation a stark reminder of its forgotten past. Sakura's heart raced as she approached the entrance, her instincts screaming that they were walking into something far more dangerous than they realized. As they stepped inside, the silence was deafening, the only sound the crunch of their footsteps on the cracked stone floor. Suddenly, a faint chakra signature flickered in the distance, and Sasuke's Sharingan flared to life. "We're not alone," he said, his voice low. Before they could react, a group of shadowy figures emerged from the darkness, their movements swift and precise. The figures were clad in strange, archaic armor, their faces obscured by masks that seemed to shift and distort in the dim light. Without hesitation, the figures attacked, their movements a blur as they closed the distance between them and Team 7. Naruto reacted instantly, his hands flying through a series of hand seals as he summoned a swarm of shadow clones. The clones charged forward, their fists glowing with chakra as they engaged the attackers. Sasuke's Sharingan tracked the movements of the enemy, his sword flashing as he countered their strikes with deadly precision. Sakura, meanwhile, focused on analyzing their opponents, her medical training allowing her to identify their weaknesses. She noticed that the attackers' chakra signatures were erratic, almost as if they were being manipulated by an outside force. "They're not in control of their actions," she shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos. "We need to find the source of the chakra controlling them." As the battle raged on, Sakura's mind raced. She had been working on a new jutsu in secret, one that combined her medical expertise with her chakra control to manipulate time itself. The jutsu was still in its experimental stages, but she knew it might be their only hope of uncovering the truth. Focusing her chakra, she began to weave the intricate hand seals required for the technique. The air around her crackled with energy as her chakra surged, the ground beneath her feet trembling as the jutsu took hold. With a final seal, she slammed her hands onto the ground, and a blinding light erupted around them. When the light faded, the scene before them had changed. The crumbling walls of the Uchiha compound were gone, replaced by a pristine version of the village as it had been decades ago. The Hokage monument bore the faces of the first, second, and third Hokages, their stern gazes watching over the village. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura stood in stunned silence, their minds struggling to process what had just happened. Before they could gather their thoughts, a voice called out to them. "Who are you, and how did you get here?" The voice was firm and commanding, and as they turned, they found themselves face to face with none other than the first Hokage, Hashirama Senju, and the second Hokage, Tobirama Senju. The initial shock of encountering the legendary Hokages was quickly replaced by a sense of urgency. Sakura explained their situation, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "We were attacked by an unknown force, and I used a jutsu to manipulate time in order to find answers. But it seems we've been pulled into the past." Hashirama's expression grew serious as he listened, his sharp mind already piecing together the implications. "If what you say is true, then the balance of time itself may be at risk," he said. "We must act quickly to uncover the source of this disturbance before it's too late." As the group prepared to set out, a faint tremor shook the ground, and a dark chakra began to seep into the air. The source of the disturbance was still unknown, but the threat was clear. The disappearance of the shinobi, the mysterious attackers, and the manipulation of time were all pieces of a larger puzzle, one that hinted at a danger far greater than anything they had faced before. Naruto clenched his fists, his resolve hardening. "Whatever's coming, we'll face it together," he said, his voice filled with determination. Sasuke nodded in agreement, his Sharingan glowing with intensity. Sakura, meanwhile, felt a surge of determination as well. Her secret jutsu had brought them to the past, but it was up to them to protect the future. As they set out to confront the looming threat, the bonds between Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura were stronger than ever. Their unique strengths and skills had brought them this far, but the challenges ahead would test them like never before. The shadows of the past and the uncertainties of the future loomed large, but one thing was certain: the fate of the Hidden Leaf Village, and perhaps the entire shinobi world, rested in their hands. The air in Konoha was thick with tension as the village reeled from the sudden appearance of the time-lost Hokages, summoned by Sakura's secret jutsu. The once revered leaders of the Leaf now stood as an unpredictable force, their presence both a blessing and a curse. While their immense power could protect the village, their disorientation and fragmented memories made them volatile allies. Naruto, Sakura, and the others had barely begun to piece together a plan when a new threat emerged, one that threatened to unravel everything. It started with a faint tremor beneath the earth, a subtle vibration that only the most perceptive shinobi noticed. Shikamaru, ever the strategist, was the first to sense it. "Something's wrong," he muttered, his eyes narrowing as he scanned the horizon. "This isn't natural." His words were punctuated by a sudden, deafening roar as the ground split open near the outskirts of the village. From the fissure emerged a swarm of shadowy figures, their forms shifting and writhing like living ink. They moved with unnatural speed, their eyes glowing with a malevolent light. "What the hell are those things?" Naruto shouted, his voice tinged with both anger and fear. The shadowy creatures, later identified as the Voidlings, were unlike anything the shinobi had faced before. They seemed to absorb chakra on contact, their amorphous bodies growing stronger with every attack. Kakashi, his Sharingan active, quickly deduced their nature. "They're feeding off our techniques," he warned, his voice calm but urgent. "Physical attacks might be our only option." But even as he spoke, one of the Voidlings lunged at him, its form shifting into a perfect mimicry of his own body. Kakashi barely dodged the attack, his mind racing to adapt. Meanwhile, Sakura stood at the center of the chaos, her fists clenched as she tried to maintain control over the Hokages. Tobirama, the second Hokage, was the first to act, his sharp instincts kicking in despite his confusion. "These creatures are a threat to the village," he declared, his voice firm. "We must eliminate them." But Hashirama, the first Hokage, hesitated, his gaze distant. "Something feels off," he murmured. "This isn't just an attack. It's a distraction." His words sent a chill through Sakura. If the Voidlings were a diversion, then what was their true purpose? The answer came swiftly. As the shinobi rallied to fend off the Voidlings, a figure emerged from the shadows, a rogue ninja cloaked in dark robes, his face obscured by a mask etched with strange symbols. "You've done well to summon them," he sneered, his voice dripping with malice. "But the Hokages are mine to command now." Before anyone could react, he raised a hand, and a surge of dark chakra enveloped the Hokages, their bodies freezing in place. Sakura's heart sank as she realized the truth: this was no ordinary enemy. He had been waiting for this moment, exploiting her jutsu to seize control of the village's greatest protectors. Naruto's fists ignited with chakra as he charged forward, his rage boiling over. "You're not taking them," he roared, launching a Rasengan at the masked figure. But the attack passed harmlessly through his body, the rogue ninja's form dissolving into smoke. "Foolish," he taunted. "You cannot defeat what you cannot touch." Naruto gritted his teeth, his mind racing for a solution. If physical attacks were useless, then they needed a different approach. Sakura, meanwhile, was grappling with her own emotions. Guilt gnawed at her as she realized her jutsu had put the village in even greater danger. "This is my fault," she whispered, her voice trembling. But Hinata, ever the voice of reason, placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We'll fix this together," she said firmly. "But first, we need to free the Hokages." Her Byakugan activated, Hinata scanned the area, searching for the source of the rogue ninja's control. "There," she pointed to a glowing seal etched into the ground. "That's what's binding them." The team sprang into action, their movements a blur of coordinated precision. Shikamaru used his shadow possession jutsu to immobilize a group of voidlings, creating an opening for Naruto and Sakura to reach the seal. But the rogue ninja was one step ahead. With a wave of his hand, he summoned a barrier of dark energy, blocking their path. "You're persistent," he sneered. "But persistence won't save you." Naruto, undeterred, channeled his chakra into a massive Rasen Shuriken and hurled it at the barrier. The impact sent shockwaves rippling through the air, but the barrier held firm. It was then that Sasuke arrived, his Sharingan glowing with intensity. "You're wasting your time," he said coolly, his gaze locked on the rogue ninja. "He's using a space-time jutsu to redirect your attacks. You need to disrupt his chakra flow." Without waiting for a response, Sasuke activated his Rinnegan, summoning a portal that swallowed the barrier whole. The rogue ninja's eyes widened in surprise, but he quickly recovered, his form shifting into a defensive stance. "Impressive," he admitted. "But you're still outmatched." The battle escalated as Sasuke and Naruto launched a coordinated assault, their movements perfectly synchronized despite their rivalry. Sasuke used his Amaterasu to create a wall of black flames, forcing the rogue ninja to retreat, while Naruto unleashed a barrage of shadow clones to overwhelm him. But the rogue ninja was relentless, his dark chakra growing stronger with every attack. "You cannot win," he declared, his voice echoing with an otherworldly resonance. "The Hokages will be my weapons, and Konoha will fall." As the fight raged on, Sakura and Hinata worked tirelessly to dismantle the seal. Using her immense chakra control, Sakura channeled her energy into the ground, disrupting the flow of the rogue ninja's jutsu. Hinata, meanwhile, used her gentle fist techniques to target the chakra points within the seal, weakening its hold. Slowly but surely, the Hokages began to stir, their eyes clearing as they regained control. "We must act quickly," Tobirama urged, his voice sharp with urgency. "This enemy is not to be underestimated." With the Hokages freed, the tide of the battle began to turn. Hashirama summoned a forest of towering trees to trap the voidlings, while Tobirama used his flying thunder god technique to outmaneuver the rogue ninja. Naruto and Sasuke, now fighting side by side, unleashed their combined power in a devastating attack that shattered the rogue ninja's defenses. But just as victory seemed within reach, the rogue ninja revealed his final card. "You may have freed them," he hissed, his voice dripping with venom. "But you've only delayed the inevitable." With a final burst of dark chakra, he vanished, leaving behind a cryptic warning: "The true enemy is already among you." The words hung heavy in the air as the shinobi regrouped, their bodies battered but their spirits unbroken. Naruto clenched his fists, his mind racing with questions. Who was the true enemy? And how could they stop a threat they couldn't even see? Sakura, meanwhile, felt a growing sense of unease. The rogue ninja's words had struck a nerve, and she couldn't shake the feeling that someone close to them was hiding a dangerous secret. As the sun set over Konoha, casting long shadows across the village, the shinobi prepared for the battles yet to come, knowing that the stakes had never been higher. The dense forest surrounding Konoha was eerily silent, save for the occasional rustle of leaves in the wind. Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke stood at the edge of a clearing, their eyes fixed on the glowing seal Sakura had activated moments ago. The air crackled with energy as the silhouettes of the past Hokages, Hashirama, Tobirama, Hiruzen, and Minato, materialized before them. Their expressions were a mix of confusion and curiosity, their presence a testament to Sakura's newly awakened secret jutsu, a forbidden technique that manipulated time itself. But before the group could fully process the gravity of the situation, a sharp, mocking laugh echoed through the trees. Well, what do we have here? The legendary Hokages, brought back by a pink-haired medic? How quaint. The voice was smooth, dripping with sarcasm, and it sent a chill down Naruto's spine. Emerging from the shadows was a figure clad in a dark cloak adorned with intricate silver patterns. His face was partially obscured by a hood, but his piercing golden eyes gleamed with an unsettling intensity. He moved with a fluid grace, his every step deliberate, as if he owned the ground beneath him. In his hand, he twirled a kunai with a serpent-shaped hilt, its blade glinting ominously in the moonlight. "Who the hell are you?" Naruto demanded, his voice sharp, his fists already clenched. The stranger smirked, his gaze flickering over the group before settling on Sakura. "Name's Kaido," he said, his tone almost playful. "And I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. You see, Sakura, your little jutsu didn't just bring back the Hokages. It also awakened something, or someone, else. Me." Sakura's eyes widened. "What are you talking about? My jutsu was designed to summon the Hokages, not some random." "Random?" Kaido interrupted, his smirk widening. "Oh, I'm far from random. I'm a relic of the past, just like them. But unlike these noble leaders, I was sealed away for a reason. And now, thanks to you, I'm free." The Hokages exchanged wary glances. Tobirama stepped forward, his expression stern. "If you're a threat to the village, you won't leave this forest alive." Kaido laughed, a sound that was both melodic and menacing. "Threat? Oh, I'm more than a threat. I'm a reckoning. But don't worry, I'm not here for you. Not yet, anyway. I'm here for her." He pointed the kunai directly at Sakura. "Your jutsu is fascinating, but it's incomplete. And I intend to take it from you." Before anyone could react, Kaido lunged forward, his movements a blur. Naruto and Sasuke moved instinctively, Naruto forming a Rasengan while Sasuke's Sharingan flared to life. But Kaido was faster. He twisted mid-air, dodging Naruto's attack with ease, and countered with a sweeping kick that sent Sasuke skidding backward. Sakura barely had time to raise her arms in defense as Kaido closed the distance, his kunai aimed at her chest. "Sakura, move." Hashirama's voice boomed as he stepped in, his massive wooden arm shooting out to block the attack. The kunai clashed against the wood, but Kaido didn't falter. Instead, he flipped backward, landing gracefully on a tree branch. His golden eyes gleamed with amusement. "Impressive," he said, his tone mocking. "But let's see how you handle this." He raised his hand, and the air around him seemed to distort. A cascade of black flames erupted from his palm, swirling and coalescing into the shape of a massive serpent. The creature lunged at the group, its fangs bared. "Fire style, flame serpent jutsu," Kaido declared, his voice echoing through the forest. Naruto gritted his teeth, forming a shadow clone to charge at the serpent. But the flames were unlike anything he'd encountered before, they burned hotter, darker, and seemed to sap his chakra on contact. The clone disintegrated in a burst of smoke, and Naruto stumbled back, his arm singed. "This isn't normal fire," he shouted, his voice strained. "No kidding," Sasuke muttered, his Rinnegan activating as he summoned a Susanoo skeleton to shield the group. The flames crashed against the ethereal armor, but even the Susanoo began to crack under the intense heat. Sakura, meanwhile, was analyzing the situation. Her mind raced as she tried to piece together Kaido's motives and abilities. "He's not just using fire," she said, her voice steady despite the chaos. "There's something else mixed in, a chakra disruption technique. That's why our attacks aren't working." Kaido's smirk widened. "Smart girl. But knowing won't save you." He leapt from the branch, his kunai spinning as he aimed for Sakura once more. This time, however, Minato intercepted him, his flying thunder god technique allowing him to appear in an instant. The two clashed in a flurry of strikes, their movements too fast for the untrained eye to follow. "You're skilled," Minato admitted, his tone calm but his eyes sharp. "But you're outnumbered." Kaido chuckled, his golden eyes gleaming. "Outnumbered? Maybe. But I'm not alone." As if on cue, the ground beneath them began to tremble. From the shadows emerged a swarm of shadowy figures, their forms shifting and indistinct. They moved with unnatural speed, their attacks chaotic but relentless. The group was forced to split their focus, the Hokages engaging the shadowy figures while Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura regrouped. "We need a plan," Sasuke said, his voice low. "He's too fast, and his techniques are countering ours." Sakura nodded, her mind racing. "If we can disrupt his chakra flow, we might be able to weaken him. But we'll need to work together." Naruto grinned, his determination unwavering. "Then let's do it. We've faced worse, right?" Before they could act, however, Kaido's voice cut through the chaos. Enough playing around. He raised his hand, and the shadowy figures dissolved into a dark mist that swirled around him. His golden eyes glowed brighter as the mist coalesced into a massive, serpentine dragon made of pure chakra. The creature roared, its voice shaking the trees. "This ends now," Kaido declared, his tone devoid of its earlier mockery. "I'll take what I came for, and you'll all be nothing but ash." The dragon lunged, its maw wide open. Naruto and Sasuke moved in unison, their combined Rasengan and Chidori slamming into the creature's head. The impact sent shockwaves through the forest, but the dragon didn't falter. It reared back, preparing to strike again. Sakura, meanwhile, focused her chakra into her fist. She knew this was their only chance. As the dragon lunged once more, she leapt into the air, her fist glowing with raw power. "Cherry blossom impact," she shouted, slamming her fist into the dragon's head. The force of the blow shattered the creature, the dark chakra dissipating into the air. Kaido staggered back, his golden eyes wide with shock. "Impossible," he muttered, his voice barely audible. But before he could recover, the Hokages surrounded him, their combined presence overwhelming. "It's over," Hashirama said, his voice firm. "Surrender." Kaido's smirk returned, though it was weaker now. "Over? No, this is just the beginning." With a final, defiant laugh, he dissolved into a swirl of dark mist, vanishing without a trace. The forest fell silent once more, the tension slowly dissipating. Naruto let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. What the hell was that? Sakura frowned, her mind still racing. "I don't know. But one thing's for sure, he's not done. And if he's after my jutsu, this is only the beginning." The group exchanged uneasy glances, the weight of Kaido's threat hanging heavy in the air. The arrival of the past Hokages had already shifted the balance of power, but Kaido's appearance had thrown everything into chaos. His motives were unclear, his abilities formidable, and his ties to Sakura's jutsu hinted at a deeper, more dangerous connection. As they prepared to return to the village, one thing was certain: the battle for Konoha's future had just become infinitely more complicated. The air in the Hidden Leaf village was thick with tension as Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke stood at the edge of the Hokage monument, staring down at the chaos unfolding below. The once peaceful village was now a battlefield, its streets filled with the clash of steel and the roar of chakra-infused attacks. The time-lost Hokages, awakened by Sakura's secret jutsu, had turned against the village, their eyes glowing with an unnatural crimson light. It was clear now, they were being controlled by an unseen force, a puppet master who had manipulated the very fabric of time to bring them here. The trio had fought valiantly, but the combined might of the first, second, third, and fourth Hokages was overwhelming. Even Naruto's Nine Tails chakra and Sasuke's Rinnegan seemed insufficient against their relentless assault. Sakura clenched her fists, her mind racing. "This doesn't make sense," she muttered. The jutsu was supposed to bring them back as allies, not enemies. What went wrong? Naruto gritted his teeth, his blue eyes narrowing. "Someone's messing with us, Sakura. We need to find out who's behind this and fast." Sasuke, ever the strategist, scanned the battlefield. "The Hokages are being controlled by a powerful genjutsu. If we can break it, we might stand a chance." But before they could act, a familiar voice echoed across the battlefield, cold and mocking. "You're too late, as always." The trio turned to see a figure emerging from the shadows, his face obscured by a hooded cloak. As he stepped into the light, Sakura gasped. "It can't be. Danzo?" The man chuckled, pulling back his hood to reveal the scarred face of Danzo Shimura, the former leader of Root. "Surprised? You thought I was dead, didn't you? But death is merely a stepping stone for those who seek true power." Naruto's fists tightened. "Danzo, you traitor! What the hell are you doing?" Danzo's smile was venomous. "What I've always done, ensuring the survival of the leaf, even if it means destroying it first." The Hokages were weak, clinging to outdated ideals. "I've harnessed their power to create a new order, one where strength reigns supreme." The revelation hit like a thunderclap. Danzo had not only survived his apparent death but had also orchestrated this entire catastrophe. He had used Sakura's jutsu to summon the Hokages, then enslaved them with a forbidden genjutsu to serve his twisted vision. Sakura's heart sank. "This is my fault," she whispered. "I gave him the tool to do this." Sasuke placed a hand on her shoulder. "Don't blame yourself. We'll fix this together." Naruto stepped forward, his voice steady. "Danzo, you're not getting away with this. We'll stop you, no matter what." Danzo's laughter was hollow. "You? Stop me? You're nothing but children playing at being heroes. With a flick of his wrist, he unleashed a wave of dark chakra, forcing the trio to leap back. The Hokages, still under his control, advanced with terrifying precision. Hashirama's wood release erupted from the ground, entangling Naruto in a web of roots. Tobirama's water dragon jutsu surged toward Sasuke, forcing him to activate his Susanoo for protection. Hiruzen's shadow clone barrage pinned Sakura down, while Minato's flying thunder god technique kept them all on edge, his kunai appearing out of nowhere in deadly flashes. The fight was brutal and unrelenting. Naruto's nine tails chakra flared as he broke free from the roots, launching a Rasengan at Hashirama, only for the first Hokage to counter with a massive wooden fist. Sasuke's Susanoo clashed with Tobirama's water techniques, the battlefield becoming a swirling maelstrom of elements. Sakura, desperate to break the genjutsu, focused her chakra into her fists, shattering Hiruzen's clones with earth-shattering punches. But Minato's speed was unmatched, his kunai grazing her arm as she barely dodged in time. The stakes were higher than ever. Every move they made was countered, every strategy thwarted. Naruto's frustration boiled over. We can't keep this up. We need a plan. Sasuke's Sharingan spun wildly as he analyzed the battlefield. The genjutsu is tied to Danzo's right arm. If we can destroy it, we might free the Hokages. Sakura nodded, her resolve hardening. Then that's what we'll do. Naruto, Sasuke, buy me some time. I'll get close enough to take him down. The plan was risky, but it was their only hope. Naruto and Sasuke launched a coordinated assault, Naruto's shadow clone swarming Danzo while Sasuke's Amaterasu flame scorched the ground around him. Danzo sneered, easily dispatching the clones with precise strikes. Is this the best you can do? He taunted. But his arrogance was his undoing. Sakura, moving with the speed and precision of a seasoned kunoichi, closed the distance, her chakra-enhanced fist aimed directly at his arm. Danzo's eyes widened as he realized her intent. You little, but it was too late. Sakura's punch connected, shattering the seals on his arm and disrupting the genjutsu. The crimson glow in the Hokage's eyes faded, and they staggered, their movement slowing. Hashirama was the first to speak, his voice filled with regret. What have we done? Tobirama's expression was grim. We were used as weapons against our own village. Hiruzen bowed his head. Forgive us. Minato, his eyes meeting Naruto's, managed a small smile. We're proud of you, son. But the victory was short-lived. Danzo, though injured, was far from defeated. His body began to mutate, dark chakra swirling around him as he activated a forbidden technique. You think you've won? I am the embodiment of the leaf's will. I will not fall. His form twisted and expanded, becoming a monstrous amalgamation of flesh and chakra. The ground trembled as he unleashed a wave of energy, knocking the trio back. The battle had entered its most desperate phase. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura were battered and exhausted, but they couldn't afford to give up. Naruto's voice was firm. We've come too far to lose now. For the leaf, for everyone we've lost, we'll end this. Sasuke's Rinnegan glowed as he prepared his most powerful technique. Let's finish this together. Sakura, her fists glowing with chakra, nodded. For the future. The final clash was a blur of light and sound, the combined power of Naruto's Rasen Shuriken, Sasuke's Indra's arrow, and Sakura's chakra-infused strikes colliding with Danzo's monstrous form. The explosion that followed shook the very foundations of the village, the shockwave rippling through the air. When the dust settled, Danzo lay defeated, his body crumbling into ash. The Hokages, freed from his control, offered their final words of encouragement before fading back into the annals of time. But the cost of victory was heavy. The village lay in ruins, its people shaken but alive. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura stood amidst the wreckage, their bond stronger than ever. The battle had changed them, forcing them to confront their limits and redefine their goals. As the sun rose over the horizon, casting its light on the battered but unbroken hidden leaf, Naruto spoke for them all. This isn't the end. It's a new beginning. And we'll face it together. The air in the Hidden Leaf village was thick with tension, the weight of the looming battle pressing down on everyone. The revelation that Sakura's secret jutsu had awakened the time-lost Hokages, Hashirama, Tobirama, Hiruzen, and Minato, had initially brought hope. But now, the stakes had escalated beyond anything they could have imagined. The enemy, a shadowy coalition of rogue ninja and ancient entities, had unveiled a weapon capable of unraveling time itself, threatening to erase the Leaf Village from existence. The clock was ticking, and the village's survival hinged on the hero's ability to adapt, grow, and unite like never before. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura stood at the center of the storm, their determination unwavering despite the overwhelming odds. The Hokages, though powerful, were still adjusting to the modern world, their knowledge of current tactics and technology limited. This left the younger generation to take the lead, but they knew they couldn't do it alone. Training sessions became grueling marathons, each of them pushing their limits to unlock new strengths. Naruto, fueled by his unyielding spirit, worked tirelessly to master a new variation of the Rasengan, one that could disrupt the enemy's time-manipulating chakra. Sasuke, ever the strategist, honed his Sharingan to perceive the subtle distortions in space-time, seeking a way to counter the enemy's attacks. Sakura, meanwhile, delved deeper into her mysterious jutsu, discovering that it not only summoned the Hokages but also allowed her to channel fragments of their chakra, granting her unprecedented power. The training grounds were alive with energy as the team experimented with new tactics. Naruto and Sasuke sparred relentlessly, their movements a blur of speed and precision. Naruto's clones swarmed the battlefield, each one testing a different angle of attack, while Sasuke's Rinnegan flickered as he teleported between them, landing devastating blows. Sakura watched from the sidelines, her fists glowing with chakra as she practiced her new technique. With a single punch, she shattered a boulder into dust, the shockwave rippling through the air. The Hokages observed, offering guidance and sharing their wisdom. Hashirama's deep understanding of nature chakra helped Naruto refine his sage mode, while Tobirama's expertise in space-time ninjutsu gave Sasuke new insights into his teleportation abilities. Hiruzen, the professor, provided Sakura with scrolls detailing ancient medical techniques, and Minato's unparalleled speed inspired them all to push beyond their limits. But training alone wasn't enough. The enemy's forces were growing stronger, their attacks becoming more frequent and devastating. The village was under constant threat, and the heroes knew they needed allies. Naruto reached out to the other villages, calling for a summit of the five Hokages. The meeting was tense, old rivalries and suspicions simmering beneath the surface, but Naruto's unwavering belief in unity eventually won them over. The Sand, Mist, Stone, and Cloud villages pledged their support, sending their strongest shinobi to aid in the fight. Gaara, the Kazekage, arrived with a contingent of elite sand ninja, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to the chaos around them. Meiterumi, the Mizukage, brought her mastery of water and lava release, while Aniki, the Tsuchikage, offered his knowledge of earth-based techniques. Even the Raikage, set aside his gruff exterior to lend his immense strength and speed to the cause. As the allied forces gathered, the heroes uncovered a critical weakness in the enemy's weapon. Through a combination of Sakura's chakra analysis and Sasuke's Sharingan, they discovered that the time-manipulating device was powered by a rare mineral, one that could only be found in the depths of a treacherous canyon known as the Valley of Endless Echoes. The catch? The canyon was a labyrinth of environmental hazards, from collapsing cliffs to chakra-draining fog, and it was heavily guarded by the enemy. Time was running out, and the team knew they had to act fast. The mission to the canyon was a harrowing journey, each step fraught with danger. Naruto led the charge, his sage mode allowing him to sense the enemy's movements before they struck. Sasuke's Rinnegan proved invaluable, his ability to teleport the team out of harm's way saving them from countless ambushes. Sakura's newfound strength shone as she single-handedly held off a swarm of enemy ninja, her fists shattering their weapons and armor with ease. The Hokages fought alongside them, their combined might turning the tide in several close encounters. Hashirama's would release created barriers to shield the team, while Tobirama's water-based techniques extinguished the enemy's fire attacks. Hiruzen's versatility allowed him to adapt to any situation, and Minato's speed was a blur of yellow as he struck down foes before they could react. The canyon's environmental hazards tested their resolve at every turn. The chakra-draining fog forced them to conserve their energy, while the collapsing cliffs required precise coordination to navigate. Naruto's clones scouted ahead, their sacrifices providing crucial information about the terrain. Sasuke's Sharingan allowed him to predict the fog's movements, guiding the team through its thickest patches. Sakura's medical expertise kept everyone in fighting shape, her chakra-infused punches clearing paths through the rubble. The Hokage's experience proved invaluable, their knowledge of ancient traps and techniques helping the team avoid disaster. Finally, they reached the heart of the canyon, where the rare mineral pulsed with an eerie light. The enemy's strongest warriors awaited them, their leader a shadowy figure wielding a blade that seemed to cut through reality itself. The battle that followed was a chaotic symphony of clashing blades, explosive jutsu, and desperate maneuvers. Naruto's new Rasengan variant disrupted the enemy's chakra, creating openings for Sasuke to exploit. Sakura's punches shattered their defenses, her strength amplified by the Hokage's chakra. The allied forces fought valiantly, their combined efforts overwhelming the enemy's defenses. But the shadowy leader was a formidable foe, his blade slicing through their attacks with ease. It was only through a coordinated effort, with Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura combining their strongest techniques, that they managed to land a decisive blow. The leader fell, his weapon shattering as the mineral's light dimmed. With the mineral in hand, the team raced back to the village, their victory tempered by the knowledge that the enemy's ultimate weapon was still a threat. But they had bought themselves time, and in that time, they had grown stronger. The bonds between them had deepened, their trust in one another unshakable. As they prepared for the final battle, they knew the odds were still overwhelming, but they also knew they had the strength to face them. The Leaf Village would not fall, not while they still drew breath. And with the Hokages by their side, they were ready to fight for the future, no matter the cost. The battlefield was a chaotic storm of chakra, dust, and desperation. The once serene Hidden Leaf Village now lay in ruins, its streets torn apart by the clash of titans. Sakura Haruno stood at the epicenter, her fists glowing with a radiant green aura as her secret jutsu, the temporal rebirth, pulsed through the air. The Hokages of the past, Hashirama, Tobirama, Hiruzen, and Minato, had been summoned from the depths of time, their forms shimmering with an otherworldly energy. But even their legendary power was being tested as the enemy, a rogue faction of Otsutsuki descendants, unleashed their full might. Hashirama Senju, the god of shinobi, leapt into the fray, his hands weaving seals with blinding speed. Wood style, deep forest emergence, he roared, and the ground erupted with colossal trees that twisted and surged toward the enemy. But the Otsutsuki leader, a towering figure wielding a staff of pure energy, countered with a devastating swing, shattering the forest into splinters. Hashirama gritted his teeth, his body glowing as he tapped into Sage mode. "You're strong," he admitted, "but I've faced worse." He charged forward, his fists slamming into the enemy's defenses with earth-shaking force. Nearby, Tobirama Senju was locked in a high-speed duel with an Otsutsuki assassin who wielded twin blades of chakra. The second Hokage's signature Flying Thunder God technique allowed him to teleport in an instant, but his opponent matched his speed, their blades clashing in a blur of sparks. Tobirama's eyes narrowed as he analyzed the enemy's movements. "You're fast," he muttered, "but predictable." With a flick of his wrist, he marked the ground with a seal, teleporting behind his foe and delivering a devastating water-style jutsu that sent the assassin sprawling. Hiruzen Sarutobi, the professor, stood atop a crumbling building, his staff extended as he summoned a barrage of shadow clones. Each clone wielded a different elemental jutsu, creating a symphony of fire, water, wind, and earth that rained down on the enemy forces. But an Otsutsuki mage countered with a black flame that consumed the clones one by one. Hiruzen's eyes hardened as he channeled his chakra, his body aging and then rejuvenating as he tapped into the Forbidden Reaper Death Seal. "If I must sacrifice myself to protect the leaf," he declared, "then so be it." The enemy mage hesitated, sensing the immense power gathering in the air. Minato Namikaze, the yellow flash, was a blur of motion as he darted across the battlefield, his Flying Thunder God kunai slicing through the air. He targeted the Otsutsuki's supply lines, disrupting their reinforcements with surgical precision. But a massive Otsutsuki brute intercepted him, his fists slamming into the ground with enough force to create craters. Minato's eyes flickered with determination as he activated his Rasengan, the spinning sphere of chakra glowing brighter than ever. "You're strong," Minato said, "but you're not faster than light." With a burst of speed, he appeared above the brute, driving the Rasengan into his chest and sending him crashing to the ground. Sakura, meanwhile, was locked in a desperate struggle with the Otsutsuki's second-in-command, a cunning strategist who wielded a whip of pure chakra. The whip lashed out, slicing through the air with a deafening crack, but Sakura dodged with inhuman agility, her Baikagu seal glowing brightly as it enhanced her strength and speed. "You're not the only one with tricks," Sakura growled, her fists slamming into the ground and creating a shockwave that forced her opponent back. She channeled her chakra into her fists, unleashing a devastating punch that shattered the whip and sent the strategist flying. As the battle raged on, the Hokages began to coordinate their efforts. Hashirama and Tobirama combined their wood and water styles to create a massive tidal wave of roots and water that swept through the enemy ranks. Hiruzen and Minato worked in tandem, their jutsu complementing each other as they created a storm of fire and wind that incinerated everything in its path. Sakura, her body pushed to its limits, unleashed her ultimate technique, the 100 Healings, Genesis Rebirth. Her chakra surged, healing her allies and amplifying their strength as she joined the fray once more. The Otsutsuki leader, realizing the tide was turning, unleashed his full power, his body transforming into a monstrous form that radiated pure energy. He slammed his staff into the ground, creating a shockwave that sent the Hokages flying. But they refused to back down. Hashirama summoned his 1,000-armed Buddha, its massive fists slamming into the enemy with earth-shattering force. Tobirama teleported around the battlefield, delivering precise strikes that weakened the enemy's defenses. Hiruzen and Minato combined their jutsu into a single, devastating attack that pierced through the enemy's energy shield. And Sakura, her fists glowing with the power of her Byakugan seal, delivered the final blow, her punch shattering the enemy's staff and sending him crashing to the ground. The battlefield fell silent as the dust settled, the enemy forces retreating in disarray. The Hokages stood together, their bodies battered but unbroken. Sakura collapsed to her knees, her chakra nearly depleted, but a smile of relief on her face. "We did it," she whispered. The Hokages nodded, their expressions a mix of pride and exhaustion. The Hidden Leaf village was safe, but the cost had been high. As the sun set over the ruined village, the shinobi of the leaf began to rebuild, their spirits unbroken and their resolve stronger than ever. The battle was over, but the war for the future had only just begun. The battlefield was a chaotic storm of chakra and debris, the air thick with the scent of burning earth and the metallic tang of blood. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura stood at the center of it all, battered and bruised but unyielding. The time-lost Hokages, Hashirama, Tobirama, Hiruzen, and Minato, loomed before them, their once noble forms now twisted by the dark influence of Sakura's secret jutsu gone awry. The jutsu, meant to summon their wisdom and strength, had instead awakened a corrupted version of their power, fueled by the unresolved pain and regrets of their past lives. The fate of the Leaf Village, and perhaps the entire shinobi world, hung in the balance. Naruto's Kurama-enhanced chakra cloak flickered erratically, his reserves nearly depleted. Sasuke's Sharingan spun wildly, his Rinnegan glowing faintly as he struggled to maintain his Susanoo. Sakura, her fists clenched and glowing with healing chakra, stood between them, her resolve unwavering despite the cracks in her composure. "We can't give up," she said, her voice steady but laced with exhaustion. "This is our village, our future. We have to bring them back, not just for us, but for them." The Hokages advanced, their movements synchronized and relentless. Hashirama's wood-release surged forward, massive roots erupting from the ground like serpents. Tobirama's water dragons roared through the air, their icy jaws snapping. Hiruzen's staff spun with deadly precision, and Minato's flying thunder god kunai flashed in the dim light, teleporting him in a blur of yellow. The trio braced themselves, their bond as Team 7 their only lifeline. Naruto roared, his Rasengan spinning to life in his hand. "Sasuke, now," he shouted, charging forward. Sasuke's Susanoo arrow materialized, its tip crackling with Amaterasu flames. He loosed it, the projectile streaking through the air and striking Hashirama's wooden barrier, igniting it in black fire. Naruto's Rasengan collided with the burning debris, the force of the impact sending shockwaves through the battlefield. But Hashirama's Makuten reformed almost instantly, the flames extinguished by a surge of chakra. Sakura darted forward, her fists glowing with chakra-enhanced strength. She leapt into the air, bringing her fist down on Tobirama's water dragon with a resounding crash, shattering it into a cascade of droplets. But before she could land, Minato appeared behind her, his kunai aimed at her back. "Sakura!" Naruto screamed, but it was too late. Or so it seemed. In a flash of pink light, Sakura's body shifted, her movements impossibly fast. She twisted mid-air, her fist connecting with Minato's kunai and shattering it. Her eyes glowed with an unfamiliar energy, the secret jutsu within her awakening fully for the first time. "I won't let you hurt them," she said, her voice resonating with power. "Not again." The ground beneath her cracked as she landed, her chakra surging like a tidal wave. The Hokages hesitated, their corrupted forms flickering as if sensing the purity of her resolve. Sakura's jutsu, born of her desire to protect and heal, began to unravel the darkness that had consumed them. But it came at a cost, her body trembled, blood trickling from her nose as she pushed herself beyond her limits. Naruto and Sasuke exchanged a glance, their rivalry momentarily set aside. "We have to help her," Naruto said, his voice firm. Sasuke nodded, his Sharingan locking onto Sakura's form. "She's the key. If we can amplify her chakra, we might be able to break the corruption." Together, they moved. Naruto's shadow clones swarmed the battlefield, drawing the Hokage's attention while Sasuke weaved hand signs, his Rinnegan glowing brighter. Sakura stood at the center, her chakra radiating like a beacon. "Now," Sasuke shouted, unleashing a massive inferno-style fireball that engulfed the Hokages. Naruto followed up with a barrage of Rasen Shuriken, the wind blades slicing through the flames. But it wasn't enough. The Hokages emerged from the inferno, their forms flickering but still intact. Sakura fell to her knees, her chakra nearly spent. I can't, she whispered, tears streaming down her face. I wanted to save them, to save everyone. But I'm not strong enough. Naruto knelt beside her, placing a hand on her shoulder. You are strong enough, he said, his voice filled with conviction. You always have been. We just have to do this together. Sasuke joined them, his Sharingan meeting Sakura's gaze. You're not alone, he said simply. In that moment, something shifted. The bond between them, forged through years of trials and triumphs, ignited a new power. Sakura's chakra surged once more, this time intertwined with Naruto's and Sasuke's. The Hokages froze, their corrupted forms wavering as the trio's combined energy washed over them. Hashirama's voice broke through the darkness, faint but clear. You've done it, he said, his tone filled with pride. You've reminded us of who we are. One by one, the Hokage's forms began to dissolve, their corrupted chakra dissipating into the air. Minato's gaze met Naruto's, a soft smile on his face. I'm proud of you, son, he said before vanishing. Hiruzen nodded to Sasuke, his expression one of respect. You've come a long way, he said. Tobirama and Hashirama exchanged a glance before turning to Sakura. You've shown us the true strength of the leaf, Hashirama said. Thank you. As the last traces of the Hokages faded, the battlefield fell silent. The trio stood together, their bodies battered but their spirits unbroken. The sun broke through the clouds, casting a golden light over the devastated landscape. Sakura collapsed into Naruto's arms, her strength finally giving out. We did it, she murmured, her voice barely audible. Naruto held her tightly, his own tears mixing with hers. Yeah, he said, his voice choked with emotion. We did. Sasuke stood beside them, his usual stoicism softened by the moment. This isn't the end, he said. It's a new beginning. The aftermath of the battle reshaped the shinobi world in ways no one could have predicted. The Leaf Village, though scarred, emerged stronger than ever, its people united by the sacrifices of their heroes. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura became legends, their bond a symbol of hope and resilience. And Sakura's secret jutsu, once a source of fear, was now a testament to the power of love and determination. As the sun set on the horizon, casting long shadows over the village, the trio stood together, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. They had faced their limits, achieved a breakthrough, and reshaped the future. And in that moment, they knew they were unstoppable.